"Nice watch, Hunter," Cooper said, dragging out each word like he was savoring expensive wine. "Very authentic. Is that from a garage sale, or did someone actually pay money for that thing at a pawn shop?" And just like that, the Monday morning meeting went dead silent. 14 people around that conference table in Hartford Financial Group's main boardroom, all suddenly fascinated by their coffee cups or pretending their phones just buzzed with something urgent. Spencer Wellington, the VP and Cooper's daddy, tried to cover his chuckle with a cough, but nobody was fooled. "I'm Hunter Morrison, 47 years old, and I didn't say a word back. Just looked down at my watch, this old Patek Philippe my father left me, and gave it a gentle turn on my wrist." Cooper was sitting there in his knockoff designer suit, grinning like he'd just scored the winning touchdown, completely clueless about what he'd just stepped in. It's October 2024, and I'd been working at Hartford Financial Group for 8 years now, senior operations analyst, which is a fancy way of saying I keep track of where the money goes and make sure nobody steals it. I show up 10 minutes early every day, leave right at 5, and mind my own business. The kind of employee you only notice when the budget sheets don't add up and someone needs to fix the mess quietly. Then, along came Cooper Wellington about 8 months ago, 26 years old with an MBA from Wharton and a trust fund bigger than most people's retirement accounts. Got hired straight out of business school because his daddy Spencer runs strategic investments here at Hartford. From day one, Cooper acted like the office was his personal reality show, talked loud, used buzzwords he clearly didn't understand, and treated the support staff like they were there to fetch his coffee. But here's the thing, I'm ex-Navy. Spent 4 years learning patience and how to watch people without them knowing it. Did my time from 1999 to 2003, got out as a petty officer second class, and learned that the loudest guy in the room is usually compensating for something. So I noticed things about Cooper that others missed or chose to ignore, like how the board members' smiles got tighter whenever Cooper walked into a room. How his brilliant ideas sounded suspiciously like emails from 3 weeks ago that someone else had sent. How he completely misread a portfolio analysis last month and accidentally triggered a review on a $180,000 pension account belonging to Hartford municipal workers, then blamed the intern for not flagging it with clearer documentation. The kid had zero consequences for screwing up, just more expensive shoes and louder opinions about synergy and market optimization. But the watch comment that Monday morning, that got under my skin. Not because it hurt my feelings, hell, I've heard worse in the Navy mess hall, but because Cooper had no idea what he was looking at. This wasn't just some old timepiece I picked up at an estate sale, it was a 1987 Patek Philippe Calatrava, and it came with a story that would make Spencer Wellington update his resume real quick if he knew the truth. See, what nobody at Hartford Financial understood was that this company should have gone belly up 16 years ago during the 2008 financial crisis. While everyone was panicking about mortgage derivatives and credit default swaps, and banks were dropping like flies, Hartford Financial was about 48 hours from filing Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The board was ready to liquidate everything and leave thousands of retirees holding empty pension accounts. That's when my father, Logan Morrison, stepped in. Logan Morrison wasn't some Wall Street hotshot with his name on magazine covers. He was a quiet Navy veteran who'd spent 20 years in service before transitioning into finance, built a small investment firm that specialized in distressed assets, and by 2008, he had enough capital to make a real difference when it mattered. Dad believed in 3 things: duty, honor, and earning your respect through actions, not words. When Hartford Financial was about to collapse, he didn't see a business opportunity. He saw 2,400 employees about to lose their jobs and 8,000 retirees about to lose their benefits. So he did something that billionaires today wouldn't dream of. He helped without asking for credit. $45 million. That's what Logan Morrison quietly transferred through a series of shell companies to keep Hartford Financial afloat in October 2008. No contracts, no press releases, no board announcements, just money when they needed it most, with one condition: complete silence about the source. The only record was a sealed agreement locked in a vault in Geneva, and the only proof was this watch on my wrist. Logan Morrison taught me that real power doesn't need to announce itself. Watch and wait, he used to tell me when I was growing up. The measure of a man isn't how loud he talks, but how he treats people when he thinks nobody important is watching. Well, I'd been watching Hartford Financial for 8 years now, and what I'd seen wasn't pretty. The original partners who'd signed that agreement with my father were mostly retired or dead. The new generation, led by people like Spencer Wellington, seemed to have forgotten where their company's salvation had come from. Cooper's comment about my garage sale watch was just the latest example of how this place had lost its way. But it was also about to be the catalyst for reminding them exactly who they owed their continued existence to. The meeting continued with the usual corporate nonsense: quarterly projections, market optimization strategies, client retention metrics. But I could feel eyes on me from around the table. People trying to figure out why Cooper's joke had fallen so flat, why the tension in the room felt different somehow. They'd figure it out soon enough. Because my father hadn't just given me this watch as a family heirloom. He'd given it to me as a key, one that would unlock some very uncomfortable truths about Hartford Financial's past and present. After the meeting, I went back to my desk and did what I always do, my job. Reviewed some pension fund transfers, flagged a discrepancy in the Hartford municipal account, sent it up the chain. Nothing dramatic, just keeping the lights on and making sure retirees got their money. But around 2:30 that afternoon, everything changed. I was walking back from the server room, our main printer had been acting up again, when I heard the elevator ding on the executive floor. Not unusual, except this time the whole floor went quiet. You know that feeling when someone important walks into a room? The air pressure changes, conversations stop, people suddenly find urgent tasks at their desks. Parker Steinberg got off that elevator like he owned the building, which, considering his investment fund held about 30% of Hartford Financial's debt, wasn't far from the truth. Guy's 68 years old, built like an old linebacker who kept himself in shape, with hands that looked like they'd signed more billion-dollar deals than most people see in spreadsheets. His charcoal suit probably cost more than I made in 3 months, but he wore it like work clothes, functional, not flashy. I was just walking past, manila folder in one hand, coffee in the other, minding my own business like I'd done for 8 years. That's when it happened. Parker stopped mid-stride and stared straight at my wrist. Not a glance, a full stop, like someone had hit his pause button. For about 5 seconds, we just stood there in that hallway. Him staring at my watch, me wondering if I'd somehow violated some executive floor dress code I didn't know about. The silence stretched long enough that I could hear the copy machine humming 3 offices away. "Where did you get that watch?" he asked. His voice had that edge that makes junior analysts check their LinkedIn profiles. I stopped walking. "Sir?" Parker stepped closer, eyes locked on the Patek Philippe. "That watch. Where did you get it?" "My father gave it to me," I said, keeping it simple. In my experience, when powerful people ask direct questions, they usually want direct answers. "Your father's name?" "Logan Morrison." The change was immediate and dramatic. Parker Steinberg went pale. Not white, but that gray color that sinks into someone's bones when they've just heard a ghost's name. His mouth opened slightly, then closed. His eyes went from the watch to my face, back to the watch, like he was solving a puzzle he'd hoped never to see again. "Logan Morrison," he repeated quietly, more to himself than to me. "Yes, sir." Behind him, I could see Spencer Wellington hovering near his office door, probably wondering why the biggest client was having a staring contest with some mid-level analyst in the hallway. A few other executives had found reasons to walk past slowly, trying to overhear without being obvious about it. Parker looked at me for another long moment, then glanced around at our growing audience. "We need to talk," he said finally. "Not here, not now, but soon." He started to walk away, then stopped and turned back. "Mr. Morrison?" "Yes, sir." "Your father was a good man, a very good man." Then he walked toward Spencer's office, leaving me standing in that hallway with about 20 sets of eyes trying to figure out what just happened. I went back to my desk like nothing had occurred, but my secure email chimed about an hour later. Message from an encrypted address I hadn't seen in years. Conference room C, 4 p.m. Come alone. P.S. The rest of the afternoon crawled by. I finished my quarterly reports, returned some calls, and pretended not to notice the whispered conversations happening around the office. Word travels fast in corporate environments, especially when it involves the firm's biggest client having mysterious conversations with random analysts. At 3:59 p.m., I knocked on conference room C. Parker was already there, sitting at the head of the table with a manila folder in front of him and a look on his face that said we were about to discuss things that don't appear in quarterly reports. "Close the door," he said. I did, then sat down across from him. "Your father saved this company," Parker said without preamble. No small talk, no warming up to the subject, just straight to business. October 2008. We were 48 hours from filing Chapter 11. The board had already drafted the bankruptcy papers. He opened the folder and slid a document across the table. Old paper, multiple signatures with one name that stood out, Logan Morrison, silent partner. I picked up the document and read it carefully. Legal language, but the gist was clear. Logan Morrison provides emergency capital, Hartford Financial continues operations, and nobody talks about it, ever. In exchange, the Morrison family maintains what the document called permanent observer rights. Observer rights? I asked. Parker's smile was thin and didn't reach his eyes. The right to watch how we treat the money he saved, the right to see if we remember where we came from, the right to audit our character, you might say. I set the paper down carefully. And if you fail the audit, then the Morrison family has the authority to recommend structural changes. The weight of that statement settled in the room like smoke. Structural changes in corporate speak could mean anything from reshuffling executives to complete management overhaul. Your father was very specific about the terms, Parker continued. He said that someday, when Hartford Financial had forgotten its obligations to the people it serves, someone would need to remind them. He said he had a son who understood duty and would know what to do when the time came. I thought about Logan Morrison, about his Navy service, about the lessons he'd taught me growing up, about watching and waiting and treating people right even when you think nobody important is looking. "How long have you known who I was?" I asked. "I suspected when you were hired 8 years ago. Morrison isn't exactly a common name in financial circles, but I wasn't certain until today, until I saw that watch." Parker leaned back in his chair. "Your father told me you'd wear it when you were ready, when you'd seen enough to make a judgment about whether Hartford Financial deserved to continue existing." Outside the conference room, I could hear the usual end-of-day sounds, keyboards clicking, phones ringing, people discussing dinner plans. Normal office life, completely unaware that the company's future was being decided by a conversation about a watch and a 16-year-old promise. "So," Parker said, "what's your assessment, Mr. Morrison?" I looked Parker straight in the eye and gave him the truth. "Your company has forgotten what honor looks like." His expression didn't change, but I saw something shift behind his eyes, like he'd been expecting this answer but hoping he was wrong. "Spencer Wellington is everything that's wrong with modern corporate culture," I continued. "Nepotism, entitlement, and zero accountability. His son Cooper is worse. All privilege, no competence. They're treating Hartford Financial like their personal ATM while pension funds get mismanaged and working people get screwed." Parker nodded slowly. "Give me specifics." Cooper triggered that $180,000 review last month because he can't read a basic portfolio analysis. Instead of owning up to it, he blamed the intern. That money represents the retirement security of 127 Hartford municipal workers, bus drivers, custodians, city clerks, people who've been paying into this fund for 20 to 30 years. I leaned forward. My father didn't save this company so rich kids could play with working people's money like it was monopoly cash. What else? The Hartford Teachers Pension Account has been underperforming for 18 months because Spencer keeps steering them toward high-fee investment products that benefit Hartford Financial's commission structure instead of the teachers' retirement goals. We're talking about 2,100 educators who trusted us with their futures. Parker made a note in a small leather book. Continue. Cooper treats the support staff like servants. Last week, he made Janet from HR drive across town to pick up his dry cleaning because he needed to focus on strategic initiatives. Janet's been here 12 years and makes $38,000 a year. She's got 2 kids and takes the bus to work because she can't afford car payments. "I've seen the expense reports," Parker said quietly. "Cooper billed that dry cleaning run as a client consultation drive. There's more." Spencer approved a $45,000 team building retreat to Kiowa Island last month. Know who got invited? Him, Cooper, and 3 junior executives whose parents all happen to be major Hartford Financial clients. The operations team that actually keeps this place running? We got an email about budget constraints and a canceled Christmas bonus. Parker's jaw tightened. Your father specifically warned about this kind of behavior in our original agreement. Dad believed in earning respect through service, not demanding it through privilege. What I've seen here for 8 years is the opposite of everything he stood for. I thought about all the conversations I'd overheard, all the decisions I'd watched being made for the wrong reasons, all the good employees who'd left because they couldn't stand working for people like the Wellingtons. You want to know the worst part? I said. Cooper made fun of my watch because he has no idea what real value looks like. He sees something that doesn't scream expensive and assumes it's worthless. That's exactly how he treats people, too. Parker closed his notebook. What would your father want me to do? Before I could answer, my secure phone buzzed. Text message from an unknown number. Emergency board meeting. Conference room A, 5 p.m. Required attendance. All senior staff. Chairman's office. Parker glanced at his own phone, which had buzzed at the same moment. Interesting timing, he said. We walked toward conference room A together, and I could feel the energy in the office shifting. People were moving faster, talking in hushed voices, checking their phones obsessively. Something big was happening. Spencer Wellington was already in the conference room when we arrived, looking like a man who'd just discovered his house was on fire. Cooper sat beside him, for once not smiling or making jokes. The board chairman, Malcolm Reeves, stood at the head of the table with a stack of documents that looked official and unforgiving. Gentlemen, Reeves began as the room filled with Hartford Financial's senior leadership, we've received some disturbing information about financial irregularities in the Strategic Investments Division. Spencer's face went white. I'm sorry, what irregularities? A comprehensive audit of your department's activities over the past 18 months has revealed multiple instances of fiduciary violations, inappropriate client recommendations, and expense account fraud. Reeves held up a thick folder. This audit was triggered by a formal complaint filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission earlier today. The complaint included detailed documentation of pension fund mismanagement affecting over 2,200 municipal and education workers. I glanced at Parker, who was studying his hands with intense interest. Furthermore, Reeves continued, the audit revealed that certain employees in strategic investments have been using company resources for personal benefit, billing unauthorized expenses to client accounts, and demonstrating a pattern of discriminatory behavior toward support staff. Cooper spoke up for the first time. Dad, what's he talking about? Spencer's voice cracked slightly. I don't understand. Who filed this complaint? Reeves looked directly at me. The complaint was filed by someone with observer rights under Hartford Financial's founding partnership agreement, rights that were established in 2008 and have remained dormant until now. The room went completely silent. You could hear the air conditioning cycling, someone's stomach rumbling, the distant sound of traffic 34 floors below. Observer rights? Spencer repeated weakly. Yes, Reeves said. Rights granted to the Morrison family in recognition of their significant financial contribution to Hartford Financial's survival during the 2008 crisis. Every head in the room turned toward me. Cooper's mouth fell open like someone had disconnected his jaw. Mr. Hunter Morrison, Reeves announced formally, has been conducting a comprehensive evaluation of Hartford Financial's operational integrity and corporate culture over the past 8 years. His findings have been reviewed by external auditors and submitted to the appropriate regulatory authorities. Spencer looked like he was about to throw up. Hunter Morrison? You mean he's the son of Logan Morrison? Yes, our silent founding partner. Parker finally spoke up. Logan Morrison's investment saved this company. His son has been protecting it ever since, watching to make sure we stayed true to the values that earned that salvation. Cooper found his voice, though it came out as a croak. This is insane. He's just some analyst. No, I said calmly, speaking for the first time since entering the room. I'm the guy whose father kept you from having to explain to 8,000 retirees why their pensions disappeared. And you just spent 8 months proving you don't deserve that gift. The weight of 16 years of hidden truth settled over that conference room like a heavy blanket. Reeves wasn't finished. Effective immediately, Spencer Wellington is terminated from his position as VP of Strategic Investments. All decisions made under his authority will be reviewed by an independent audit team. Cooper Wellington's employment is also terminated, effective today. Spencer shot up from his chair like someone had electrocuted him. Malcolm, please, let's discuss this reasonably. There's been a misunderstanding. The only misunderstanding, I said, standing up slowly, was thinking the Morrison family had forgotten about our investment in this company. Cooper turned toward me with pure rage in his eyes. This is crazy. You're some nobody who got lucky with a rich daddy. I checked my watch. The same Patek Philippe he'd mocked that morning. Felt like a lifetime ago. No, Cooper, I'm the son of the man who saved your job before you were old enough to spell portfolio. And you just threw it away because you couldn't keep your mouth shut about things you don't understand. Parker stood up next. The Morrison family's observer period is officially concluded. The assessment has been made, and appropriate actions have been taken. Security arrived 2 minutes later. 2 guards in Hartford financial blazers, looking professional but serious. They weren't rough with Spencer and Cooper, just efficient. Spencer kept trying to negotiate, talking about his years of service and company loyalty. Cooper was angrier, muttering about lawsuits and unfair treatment. As they walked past me toward the door, Cooper stopped. You think you're so smart, don't you? Hiding in plain sight, playing your little games? I wasn't playing games, I said. I was watching. There's a difference. This isn't over, he said. Yeah, it is. After they left, the conference room stayed quiet for about 30 seconds. Then Reeves cleared his throat. Mr. Morrison, the board would like to offer you Spencer's position, full authority over strategic investments, with a mandate to restore proper oversight of our pension and retirement accounts. I shook my head. I appreciate the offer, but no thanks. No? Reeves looked surprised. I'm not interested in running the show. I like what I do. Keep me where I am, let me keep watching the numbers, and I'll make sure this place stays honest. Parker smiled for the first time all day. What do you want then? I thought about my father, about those late nights when he'd taught me about duty and responsibility and doing the right thing even when nobody was looking. About the Navy values that said you protect your people and honor your commitments. I want Janet from HR to get the respect she deserves. I want the Hartford Municipal and Teachers' Pension Funds managed by someone who understands that these aren't just numbers on spreadsheets, they're people's futures. And I want this company to remember that being successful doesn't give you permission to treat people like garbage. Reeves made notes. Done. What else? Hire based on competence, not connections. Promote based on performance, not last names. And maybe invest in some decent coffee for the break room. A few people chuckled at that last one. The board will implement these changes immediately, Reeves said. Is there anything else? I looked around the room at faces I'd seen for 8 years. Some looked relieved, some looked nervous, but most looked like they were seeing me clearly for the first time. Just this, I said. Logan Morrison didn't save Hartford Financial because he wanted power or recognition. He did it because 8,000 families were counting on this company to keep its promises. Every decision we make here affects real people with real problems and real dreams. Don't forget that. 3 months later, Hartford Financial announced record performance in pension fund management. The Hartford municipal account that I'd flagged was fully restored, with an additional $2.3 million in growth that kept 847 retirees from losing their benefits. The teachers' pension fund switched to low-fee index investments and gained back 18 months of lost performance. Janet from HR got promoted to Director of Employee Relations, with a $15,000 raise and her own parking space. She sent me a thank you card that I kept on my desk. Cooper Wellington's LinkedIn profile now lists him as exploring new opportunities in strategic consulting. Spencer took early retirement and moved to Florida to pursue other interests, which apparently involves a lot of golf and not much else. And me? I'm still at the same desk, 4th row from the window next to the plant that someone finally started watering. Still showing up 10 minutes early, still leaving right at 5. Still wearing my father's watch, though now when people see it, they don't see a garage sale find. They see a reminder that real value doesn't always announce itself with a price tag. Last week, I stopped by my father's grave for the first time since all this happened. Brought him up to speed on how things worked out. Told him about Cooper's face when he realized who I was, about Spencer's pathetic attempts to negotiate his way out of consequences. You would have handled it better, I said to the headstone, more diplomatically, but I think you'd approve of the results. The wind picked up, rustling the oak trees around the cemetery. For a moment, I could almost hear Logan Morrison's voice. The measure of a man isn't how loud he talks, but how he treats people when he thinks nobody important is watching. I adjusted my watch and headed back to the office. There was a Hartford County teacher's budget review at 2 p.m., and someone needed to make sure those numbers added up correctly. Sometimes respect changes everything, even the small stuff. The coffee in the break room really is better now. Funny how that works. But the best part? Every morning when I check this old Patek Philippe, I remember why my father gave it to me. Not as jewelry, but as a reminder that some promises last longer than the people who make them, and that watching and waiting can be the most powerful thing you do. Just took 16 years for the lesson to pay off.